Would just talk. I would just say whatever I want to say without thinking too much. And what I was thinking earlier, before I took my ride on my motorcycle, on my three-wheeler Orthopedia, and managed to stay mostly out of the rain, I was thinking how this whole system works with everybody in this planet. Everybody, their true identities are pre-planning day, before they got a subconscious. Babies are babies till they get a subconscious. When they get a subconscious, now they have somebody to talk to, which is supposedly themselves, but we know it isn't. And this is where nature comes in, and not religion. Nature. This is what got us in trouble. This is what got us in trouble with Trump, with this whole world right now, because you've got people that are thinking, for some reason, religion is above nature. It's not. Religion is part of nature. It's one of nature's subsets. Every religion there is part of nature's subsets. It's you got a planet. You look up from now. If you want, you go way back. Look at the universe. Look at solar systems, universes, and it's all nature. You can go way out if you want, but I'm talking about just the human population on this planet for right now. I'm talking about our lives that we're living, and how nature affects our lives. And you got a planet, and then on this planet, a bunch of stuff exists naturally. It's rock and trees and streams and people. And every religion exists on this planet. It's part of nature. It's part of the planet. It's part of the natural course of things, natural flow. But that's just it. There's a flow, and nature will keep us moving, keep us going. It's not, people tend to use the forces in nature, they kind of hijack them for their own belief systems. The forces that push us to do what we do and be who we are, those forces are neutral, and they'll go whichever way we're feeling. Now, if it helps you feel better, then good. Then good forces in nature might be leading you a little better. I don't know. All forces in nature are good in the respect that they're moving things along, but when police officers go too far, it was nature. It was their nature, and then overall nature fed into their brain, exactly through their subconscious, kind of sneaking in under the radar, an intelligence in nature itself, not related to any kind of religion. I can't fully describe it because it's beyond my comprehension completely, of course, but it's not beyond my ability to understand it's there. There's a force there that literally puts the words in our mouths as we speak. We are one with nature as we are on this planet. Our subconscious is the tie. The subconscious is the string. It's the connection that we have with nature. As far as inside, as far as our thinking and what we do, nature will assist us to do everything we do, as we draw for it to. If your subconscious is asking nature to put you in a good place, as long as it's honest and real, nature does that. but it'll also, it doesn't play favorites. People that are willing to turn a blind eye and not listen and just believe with some sort of faith, they're more or less assisting in the destruction of any possibility of progress on this planet. People that hold their religion higher than nature itself, calling it, and I used to call it, I used to say another word for God is nature. I'm just going to call God nature from now on, and when I was much younger. And then I just dropped the, why am I including, because that is one way to see it. That is one way to see it, but you're blinding yourself if that's the only way you're allowing yourself to see it. And that's what's happened. Every other group there was did not, in majority, did not vote for Trump. The only group that voted for Trump in majority, the only thing that got him elected was evangelicals, Christians, in particular, evangelical Christians, other religious people. That's how Trump got elected, by the religious people, because they wanted their useful idiot. That's what Russia calls Trump. That's what they've been calling him. Well, in official documents in the KGB or whatever, they're not going to do it out loud where you can hear them. It's secret, but that's what they call their assets that they are developing. Trump lost the ability to borrow money from any American bank long ago. Listen to his son, Donald, in interviews from years ago, saying, "Oh no, we can't get no bank will lend to us, except Deutsche Bank from Russia. That bank will lend to us. Anything we want, that bank will give us." Why? Because it's communist Russian owned, and they see Trump back then, a long time ago, when he was defaulting on all the loans that he would take from American banks and not pay them back. He's obviously a bad man. He's not a good person. But the evangelicals are Christian and they forgive, and you can be horrible because we all are, we're human, and whatever their teachings are teaching them, it's a ways to an end. So they're willing to use the useful idiot too. So they say, oh, yeah, well, he might not be a good man. And if they were really honest with themselves in their own religious belief, they believe he's going to hell. They know he's going to hell, because anybody that doesn't believe in the God that they think is real has to go to hell. If you don't believe in my God, then I'm sending you to hell. I'm telling you that my God's going to send you to hell if you don't believe in my God. That's how it works. That's the system they believe in. To me, it's so stupid. Yet, I got my older brother, who is a devout, born-again Christian, believes the Bible is everything. That's the end all. And he's not the only one. So I get it. I hear it from him. And what's interesting about him, he's a nice guy. What can I say? He's always had good intentions. He's always been someone that wanted to do well. So I hate it when we get into tiny little things where I feel I must correct a little bit. For the most part, I hope he's accepting that I'm seeing a bigger picture. My picture includes religion. It includes his religion. It includes all religions. All religions exist in nature. They're all on this planet. We can't get rid of them that easily. We're not going to be able to just say, don't believe in those religions anymore. Just realize that nature is at work here. It's not a religion that's at work. It's nature, and the religion is kind of piggybacking on what nature's doing, if anybody can understand that. It's nature itself that creates the communication. It's not, we're not, when you hear a voice say, careful, don't step on that, it's there's broken glass there, and you're just walking along and you hear a voice in your head say, oops, there's broken glass there, and maybe it doesn't sound exactly like your voice. That's because it really wasn't. It really never is. It's being filled in for you automatically. Nature, there's an intelligence that coexists with the rock that is the earth, with the trees and the grass and everything else. But that intelligence, you don't have to label it in a religious way, because that throws you off. It makes it does, because then you start having to believe all these different stories and things that are made up around it. And it's a simplification, and it was written a really long time ago. And my brother even said, well, what about the soul, talking about abortion? And the soul of it's a human growth. It is human. A baby before it's born, it's a human growth inside of another human being. The human being who's growing that, I want to get into it, but I don't. I really don't. That's why I'm just going to lay it out there, and I'd rather talk about exactly how the system really works, rather than dwell on the righteousness of, I mean, it's so obvious. The planet cannot continue to populate. We can't continue to double our population every few years. You can't do that on a planet in space that's floating around with finite resources. You can't keep populating it with people. It can't. Therefore, nature itself will take care of the issue by running out of food or water or flooding or anything else, or the thoughts that go into people's heads. Suicide bombers, they didn't exist years ago because our planet wasn't overpopulated years ago. The only reason they exist in multitudes now is because nature is allowing the thinking to go on. They're because it's part of the global consciousness we're all feeding into the air. And here's the thing. There is a global consciousness. There has to be, because people have looked into the brain and watched it. We don't have anybody, there isn't any place in our brain where our memories are stored. They're not stored in our brain. Our memories are stored outside our bodies. They know this from looking at brain scans. Well, if you ask somebody to remember something, the access of the brain that starts jumping to synapses isn't any place where it goes, where it starts to activate when the brain is remembering something, is the same place where it activates a brand new memory. It's the same place that it goes where it's accepting new information, where new information is coming in and it's processing it. It's going to that same part of the brain to pick up the memory. The memory's coming from outside, folks. It's not inside us. So who's keeping the memory? How's our memory held? And don't get into religion with me. Let's keep religion out of it. Let's just keep that out of it. Can't we? Is it impossible? I mean, let's just talk about the facts. Let's just talk about how it is. It's a planet floating through space. It has its own rules. The planet itself. Nature, physics, I guess, but nature has its own rules. A cold front and a warm front come together, you get a storm, whatever. Everything is according to nature, is according to the natural laws in nature. We don't need a deity to come in and suddenly take over. I'm in charge of nature. I rule here. Nature rules. Nature always has. And it will. It's like George Carlin used to say, it's been around, the Earth, the planet's been around here a long time before we were on it, and it'll be around here a long time after we're gone. We're just sitting on this planet for a short while we can. The universe is, according to the scientists, is expanding. In fact, not only is, everything's expanding. Even atoms with the electrons and protons and neutrons and even atoms are getting very tiny, are getting bigger and the distance between the electron and the proton is getting further away. Every single part of nature, every single part of the universe is just expanding until eventually, in billions and billions of years from now, everything will be so expanded there'll be nothing, because there won't even be once the atoms get so far apart they can't even hold together, so they can't hold molecules together. Everything just, there isn't anything. Now, at some point, it does seem logical. I like Einstein saying he believed that time loops back around, and I think that there's a distinct kind of possibility of that, because total infinity scared the hell out of me when I was a little kid. My mom told me that things go on for forever, that's what infinity is. When she explained what the word infinity meant, I was like, no. And that's terrible. That means there's no final answer. There's no if things go, anything that goes forever, you can go forever out, you can go forever in, you can go smaller and smaller, forever and ever and ever. No. So it makes sense that even something that might go on forever, maybe it's even that's on a timeline, because as everything expands and becomes nothing, at some point it seems conceivable that we'll have that big bang that's so popular. Why not? Sounds like something to me. The big bang, throwing the dust out there and everything, and then all the planets forming and everything. Well, for some reason, I don't know why, it just feels comfortable for me to believe, yeah, I think it might loop around, because I swear, and I know I'm not the only one, because they made a word for it. It's called deja vu. And whenever they make a word like metaphysical, I've had a lot of metaphysical stuff happen in my life. A lot. And these are things that happen that cannot be denied. They can be denied by other people. I'm not saying you can't deny what I know is true. You can say, I don't believe you. That's totally your prerogative. But it doesn't mean it didn't happen to me. And I know what happened to me, and with me, and around me, and I'm an observer, just like I was when I was a baby up until 5.5 years old. That's our true selves. Our true selves are 5.5, 6 years old. That's when we developed a subconscious. When we developed the subconscious, we developed a dialogue with nature. There's many intelligent, many brains. And the reason, another thing that points to this is we can think of any other mind and connect with it and think and feel it to the point where we can feel even what it's like. I'm believing that thoughts, words come from feelings. The feeling first, and nature pretty more or less, depending on how we're feeling, fills our words in for us. The only time we're putting our own true pre-subconscious take on the planet, on the earth, expressing ourselves as truly us, is when we're accessing prior to our planning day, prior to the outline that gave us the rest of our lives, prior to our subconscious, when we were babies, when all we did was observe and report, and that into the ether. All of that's been recorded. In our subconscious, we remember every single thing that we saw and did and acted, reacted, every single thing that we witnessed when we were babies. Our subconscious remembers. It remembers it all. That buildup is what we come into the planning day with. Everything that we've observed, every memory, everything is there. We can access those memories from outside. They can be fed to us. And they are. And we come up with an outline, kind of, and then we go on. And to live our lives, and now we have somebody we're living with, and keeping religion out of it, we're talking to the earth and the sky and the leaves and the trees. We're talking to nature, the plants and the animals, all the time through our subconscious, where we're not aware of it. That's going into an ether of sorts, I call a global consciousness. Some, I've heard talk of an aura, and some people say they can see an aura. Makes sense to me. It makes sense to me that there's a force around us that would be, a lot of times people refer to it as their personal space. You can feel it when somebody's in your personal space, can't you? That's your aura, that's your atmosphere, your own atmosphere around you, that's nature. Doesn't it make sense that maybe all the words you use, mostly all the memories you're using currently, everything that you're currently up to, that you're doing, kind of stays close by in your aura. You've got all the words and all the memories that you need to draw on quickly to get stuff done in your job and whatever. And if somebody asks you something from a childhood memory or something that's not one of your current, one of your current duties as a person, as you're living your life, then you might have to pause for a while and think and draw outside your aura, where all the handy stuff is, and reach out there a little further. But what that's proving is there's brains, there's intelligences that we can connect to all over. Every planet, every person on Earth, we have the ability to connect to. It's in our makeup. It's how we think. We actually use all these other people's feelings and thoughts that we've picked up through the years and incorporated into ourselves. We use all of that of our experiences to be ourselves. Singers model themselves or admire, let's say, lots of different singers. Let's say they admire most a whole group of 10 singers at that type of style and that type of singing. These 10 particular singers, they really admire the way they sing. But it turns out our singer is also a pretty good singer. In fact, maybe our individual that likes to sing is really good, has really got some talent. Well, when that person is kind of more or less emulating these other people that person admires, who's doing the singing? It's us. It's the individual. It's we, but it is we. It's like the individual with. It's like, yes, individual plus. Yeah, about, let's say individual plus 10. But bringing all those into one, that's your style or whatever. That's that person's style. We have the ability to draw on others, from others, and that's what we're doing probably from day one. My subject here today is not about birth, not as much about the birth to the 5.5, 6 years old, where we gain a subconscious. It's primarily about that, about the fact that at a certain age we gain a subconscious. That subconscious is connected directly with nature, with an intelligence that comes from nature. It's just there. And this is something I think in the psychiatric field, I'm not sure if they seem to think that we have more power, more control over ourselves than we do. We're kind of automatic, we're on autopilot once we get to that subconscious. And we're just doing what we feel, and nature fills in what we do from what we're feeling, and what we do and what we say. But we still have all our experiences that we've had since 5.5. That's all in our subconscious too, and we can remember all of that. Plus, we can remember, well, with help of big nature, small nature is subconscious, our nature, our personal nature. My personal nature includes my subconscious. My subconscious has the ability to remember everything that ever happened all the way back to birth, but only with nature's help there, because nature has that intelligence that seems to live in the fourth dimension, that seems to live without the bounds of time. So they can plan, they can see every single outline, every single timeline, from because instantly, every timeline is visible to someone that lives in the fourth dimension. And being that there's many minds in the fourth dimension, many of them, I think that they are conceivably, what do we call it, a symbiotic relationship. I don't think they exist without us. I think they need human beings on Earth in order for them to exist. They're not aliens. They're not from outer space. They're not gods. They're not Zeus or Thor, or I don't know. See, I have very little. I'm not educated on all the different theologies and religions. I don't need to be. I'm a student of nature. I come by it honestly. I guess I finally admitted I'm a bit of an artist, and I do feel. I remember something about the Wyeths, because they live real close to where I grew up. The older Wyeths saying, the painters, saying about his kids that he, or maybe it was one of the kids that said they didn't want to go, they didn't really want to be schooled in any way how to paint or anything, really. They wanted basically the minimal amount of schooling possible in order not to affect their art, in order not to affect the purity of what they're doing, what they're trying to say. I went to, it made me tangent off. I was thinking about how I went to a writing class once after I'd written some stuff. And, okay, I get it, but after a while, all the corrections and whatnot kind of might start to get in the way of the art. I mean, maybe, there's got to be some happy medium, I guess. And we got to learn to talk, and then we got to learn to write, and then we got to, so all of the learning, we've learned stuff anyway. All right, that's a huge tangent I got off on. I apologize for it. I'm at 28 minutes. I've decided to continue to keep my videos at the around the 30-minute mark, and try to stay away from the super long ones. This is a shame, because I really have a lot more to say about how this works. And if I have to cut off here in less than 2 minutes, or feel that nature's kind of letting me know if I want anybody to watch all the way through, I've got to make them at least short enough that I'm not wasting, or using or spending more of your time than I'm worth, and I don't want to do that. So we'll have to pick. If you're interested in how else things work, I was going to speak to the fact that without the blind obedience to what people are told is, I mean, this thing, just real quick, back when there was hardly anybody on the planet, it made sense to have every baby you could have. It doesn't make sense anymore when the planet's overpopulated and you can't feed all the people that are on it now. So what are you going to do? Bring every baby into the world, no matter how how the lady got impregnated, how the girl got impregnated, doesn't matter. Bring it in. Stupid. That's just stupid. The default should be the woman has the choice 100%. And planned pregnancies are certainly going to be the best, and unplanned are going to be a challenge, but can be handled. But it should always be up to the young lady or the woman, always. And there should be no pressure, none, to pressure someone into having a baby if they don't think they should. That's nature talking to them. Their nature, that's the nature. That's the world. That's the earth. That's the planet. And if you want to get religious about it, that's God telling that individual that has that baby that that baby shouldn't be born. God is telling that person that. And you're going to say, my God says different, even though you're not in that person's shoes at all. My God says you have to have that baby. Why? Because it's a growth. It's a human growth. It hasn't even been born yet. It's not. It's not a force of nature until it's born. As soon as that baby's born, that baby is a force of nature. It's one with nature. It's part of nature. That's much more important than when it's not. It's a growth inside of a human being. It's a human growth inside of a human being. So it's not born. It's not a force of nature. What's the big tragedy is letting something become a force of nature, letting it have a say in this world, because as soon as it's born, it's having a say in that ether. It's sending it out there. And then taking it away, which has to happen if you overpopulate. You have to have wars. You have to have dictators that willingly will wipe you out. You have to have bad people with bad ideas that nature is willing to feed them in that direction. Nature doesn't take sides. It's going to go with however it needs to go to push it along. Time is ticking. Everything is moving. We're always in motion. Nature just makes sure we keep moving. That's all nature does. But we need to stop moving. We're at 32 minutes. We need to stop moving in the wrong direction and start figuring this out. Until we do, there's going to be all this kind of problems. There'll be wars. There'll be nature feeling George Carlin said, yeah, if nature the world could just, he did this thing like, could just shred us all. Like he says, yeah, does the planet, because he gets into this routine about saving the planet. Does the planet really need saving is what he's saying in his comedy routine. It's going to be fine whether we're here or not, except it might see us as a minor distraction or something, or a minor annoyance. And if it'll just shake us off like a bunch of fleas. And he's right, in time, we'll get too close to the sun. I don't know, the scientists know. The planet will not be inhabitable after a certain period of time. So we as a species, as human beings, cannot stay on this planet forever, and will not. Nature will see to that. And there's no deity, no religion seeing to that. It's nature seeing to that. All right, I've talked over the limit, but I'll probably be editing a little bit, so I can keep it under around 30 minutes. And so if you want to, there's a lot more to be said. In current times, the default should be the other way around. Instead of having, my bottom line is, and I'll talk more on it if I feel like it. But what I want to talk about are things that I don't hesitate too much. That when I hesitate, then I'm bringing me, the real me, from before I had a subconscious to talk to. Before I was joined with nature, I was joined with nature in a different way, in a more innocent way as a baby, until 5.5 years old, as the observer and reporter. That part of me is pure me, and not in any way. If I draw from that part, that's only the intelligence that exists there is only I've got everything that I've learned since is still in my subconscious, but that's pure before being in connection with the rest of the world and having a subconscious. But when we pause, we're making corrections. Nature wants us to say a particular thing, and then we'll stop mid-sentence not everyone does this. I mean, some people are just ruled by nature blindly, and that's mostly your religious. They just they just go with the flow, and never pause for very long to think and come up with their own. That's not the word I would use. Nature's trying. As long as I'm talking freely, nature's just filling in the way I'm feeling, and they're giving me the words. I'm given the words by an intelligence that exists outside my own. But when I pause, I'm accessing my own. I'm accessing the way the 5.5 or younger, really, feels. Is this the way I would describe it? If nature tries to fill a word in that I don't agree with, I'm going to change that word. But lately, in order to give nature a fair shot at this, I've been given nature's word too. So if nature says I should say, all right, nature said no. I should say no. And instead I say, you gave me a hard one, nature. Instead I say, I pause because the no is hanging there, and I pause and I say, not exactly. I changed the no that nature was giving me to not exactly, to be my words. And now lately I've noticed I've been adding back the no. All right, nature originally gave me the no's. I'm supposed to be saying no, but instead I chose to say not exactly. I don't know if that honesty will help me or not. I think that it's kind of scary to talk about nature, because nature has the ability, I mean, if it's wrong for all this to be out in the open and how this works, how the system works, then nature will, what is the guy, Kirk, and then the other one is Floyd, George Floyd me, or Kirk, the guy, I forget it. By the way, he was not that good a guy. People, come on. You religious fanatics, what's up? Did you think that Kirkland guy, was it Kirkland? No, that was the Kirkland school shooting. But what about all those school shootings? Where do you think they're coming from? It's in the atmosphere, people. And how's the atmosphere? Where's the atmosphere built? How do we build the atmosphere? There's a global consciousness, people. Everything that we're thinking, everything is out there and surrounding us. And it's the big aura around the planet, as we all have our auras around us. There's a big aura around the planet. Everybody feels that, whether they can admit it or not. Most, I think, are unable to admit that they feel the presence of the Earth, of the planet, of nature, of the solar system was given me. Thank you. That sounds like my younger brother, my older brother is a devout Christian, absolute born again, 600-year-old planet, whatever the Bible tells him. That's the facts. Wonderful guy. Can't agree completely with how he's seeing things, but if it makes him happy, which it is a sliding scale for everybody, okay. My younger brother, I'm the one in the middle. My younger brother, complete atheist, scientific all the way, won't give much credence now. He didn't stop me when I went on to a tangent the other night. I was talking with him on the phone for an hour. At least he didn't stop me when I was talking about the way I see nature. I see that there is an intelligence that exists in nature. So as an atheist, maybe it's still a good idea to accept nature might still be able to talk to us. That nature has a consciousness that we can tap into. And it's not, and we don't have to call it a deity. We don't have to call it anything other than what it is, which is an intelligence that lives in nature. It's a natural part of things. It's a natural part of the course of action. It's the system that's in play. It's the system that's working. that's where we are. And I know that I'm way past what I wanted to do. I've hit 40 minutes now. And there's more that I would say because I've touched on probably 4 or 5 areas where I could tangent off and be more specific. And I want to do that. And what I'm looking to do on this YouTube, other than get girls, is to express myself freely from what I understand to be the case, and be able to speak honestly and without so much hesitation, so that I am with nature, that we're both speaking together. So I'm not, if I go too far out of line, then I'll be gone, that's all. It's a shame that it's not better understood, and it's because it's not supposed to be at the start. We're not supposed to understand how it is we're functioning. We're supposed to just go along. We're not supposed to know that we had a planning day at around 5.5, 6 years old. We're not supposed to know that. We're just supposed to be connected with nature through our subconscious. Nature is pushing us along to do whatever it is we feel we need to do. With their help, they were involved in the planning, so they helped us plan it. If you think about it, what kind of planning days, what kind of atmosphere is being created right now with this overpopulated planet, with all this warlike stuff going on? I mean, nature doesn't care. Nature will push somebody's mind into the direction of a catastrophic event, of a war, of a larger nature. It'll just, if that's the direction, that's the direction. Until we can figure out how to keep the planet's population down without involving dictators or horrible. I mean, there are kings that have been great. Their nature was a good nature. They did good for their people. But I think almost most kings in history, maybe, and nothing. I mean, I might be totally wrong. Maybe most kings were great, but to me, I picture a king. There's too much temptation to just be, give me everything I want. I don't care about any of my subjects. All I know is I want whatever I want. And that's a king, looking out only for himself and not caring anything about anybody else. Where, in other words, some kings, like I say, I know were good kings. That's because the subconscious, they're just going along with whatever they're supposed to do. In their head, that's what they think they're supposed to do. Some police, I started to talk about that earlier, they think that they are supposed to kill George Floyd. That's what that police officer, he thought in his nature was to put his knee on that guy's neck till he killed him. That was his nature. And nature didn't fight him on it. Nature said, go ahead, put your knee on him and kill him. Poor George, the very first words he said when that cop came up to his car, he's sitting in his car and he says, I don't want to die today. I wonder who told him that was going to happen. And let's not get into religion. It's a subset. You can if you want, but I'm telling you, you're missing the big picture. And if you keep electing people just because that person, even though that person's obviously not a good person, just because that person would put somebody in the Supreme Court that would make people have to have babies, that's why you elected him. That's why you voted for him. So people would have to have babies against their will. That's it. So people would have to have babies against their will. That's why you religious people voted him in. Now what have you got? Why? He's a useful idiot, right? Russia saw him as a useful, that's what they call agents, people that they're developing, that are unaware they're being developed. They just feed them, they just keep Don Jr. said, that Deutsche Bank will give us any money we want to do anything we want. Yeah, they don't, Putin doesn't care. He's all the money in the world. He has and boy, did he stumble onto a useful idiot in Trump. That's what they call the agent. That's what they call them in the KGB, that they're developing. These people don't even know they're being developed. They just know that the Russia keeps them close, so that they can pull the strings if they need to. They're useful idiots. And now you got religious people willing to use the same tactic, that he's a useful idiot. So we'll use him, even though he's an idiot, we'll use that useful idiot to overturn that horrible rule that allows women to decide what to do with their own bodies. We'll eliminate that rule, and we'll make them have babies again. Woohoo! We're making America great again. Are you guys stupid or what? And I hate that I use that word. I hate that I say that, but I say it to myself all the time. I'm always calling myself stupid. So I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean wake up. Wake up and see what side of the train you're on, or something. Because we can't be continuing to tell nature to go ahead and feed these people. These people need fed. Do what nature, be behind these people, because they have one or two things that I believe in common with my belief. They believe something that I believe, so let's power them. Let's get smarter than that, people. I don't care if you're super religious and watching this, keep your super religion. That's fine. If it makes you happy and if you're a good person, I'm not going to tell you not. I'm just saying add to it the fact that nature exists for real. And nature, I hate to burst your bubble, is the end, is the big sayer in this. This. All right, now I'm getting in trouble. I have to be careful. Look at that. I knocked that. Nature actually had me bring my hand while I'm making motions. Now, your religious people are going to say, God made me tip this over. Nature. That's the way I see it. So anyway, yeah, I just want to talk about what I see and how I believe. But I want to be able to talk freely and without so much hesitation, and not be thinking about everything I'm saying, and which is what I do when I try to get girls or whatever. I'm trying to, I don't know what, think of something brilliant to say. Back in the day when I was willing to spend hours and hours writing to bring someone into my life, maybe that was, I could think about what to say and write it, but not anymore. Now everything's moving much quicker. All right, I'm around 50 minutes. If you guys that are watching this are girls, too, anyone, everyone, which for all I know might be no one ever, or let's hope that it's some at least, and I'm hoping a lot more than just some. I'm hoping that if I keep saying what I'm saying, if I keep seeing things the way I see them, and then reporting what I'm seeing, honestly, as honest as I can be, I think it makes a difference. I think if enough people, we have to figure out how to control our population, the planet's population. When we finally figure out how to control the planet's population without cruelty involved, I think then we've figured out how to exist as a species in relative peace for a really long time. All right, I'm going to end at that. I ended up at just over 50 minutes. We'll see how much of this I can bring down. You know, how much I can bring down. Yeah, we'll see how much of this I can bring down. I don't want to bring myself down anymore. I want to lift myself up. Yeah. All right. And and the thing is, I can feel people, just like I said. And I can feel all of the people that I riled up. Anybody that sees this that is riled up, that has something to say about something, don't be. And just accept that that's how this one is, and I'll accept the people that can't accept me. They're part of nature. But anybody that can hear me and can understand to any depth, maybe you only half understand, but that's a beginning if you do. If you half understand what I'm saying, then you're exceptional already in my mind. All right. I was going to say love you all, talk to you next time, or see you next time. As my standard sign off, I don't have a standard sign off yet. So at 52 minutes, the standard sign off is a pack of cards. Has 52 in it, right? I don't know. I'm coming up, I'm stalling. All right. I kind of like seeing myself, even with, all right. All right, I'm coming up with a way to sign off. I'm way over the limit on what I wanted to record. If you actually went through and followed this, I've got more I'm going to say. I'm going to keep putting out videos with what I want to talk about until someone actually interviews me. Whoever's going to interview me, you can finally get the answer to your questions if you ask me. But I can't answer everybody's questions, which I can feel in my head. I can't answer all your questions until you are specific about what question you'd like answered. And anyone that wants to talk religion, I think the reason for this video, I hope, is I don't talk about that. That is a waste of time. It's a subset of nature. Believe whatever you believe. It's a subset. It's wasting my time to get into some kind of theological thinking. I'm more, I guess, a philosopher than a theologist, and a philosopher. I have no idea what words mean. I only have however I've been taught, that whatever I've gleaned through time, what words to use. But I do like to use words properly when I can. Sorry for the long video. You know, I should just make that my standard sign off from now on, because it's always going to be a long video. Sorry for the long video. Bless you for hanging in. I can say it. It just doesn't mean as much as some people think. Or it means more to me, because it just does. Hate to sign off, but I got to. I'll stick around as long as I can and let you guys know what's going on. Bye for now.